I came across some very disturbing news about Ananta, and I struggled actually because I wanted to make a video about it right away, but I was struggling so much with making this video because of how bad it looked to me. But a few subscribers of the channel kept recommending it to me, so this is me basically forcing myself to make this video. Now, for those of you who are a bit impatient, this news surrounds the game's development, and there are reports about the developers of this game being overworked and technically being forced to do overtime in order to get the game ready as soon as possible. And right now, it doesn't really sit well with me, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just get into the video. Hey, what is up guys, it's Mordant. Now, if you're interested in news videos, which technically also are discussion videos like this one, and you're also interested in challenge videos and lore videos for any of the games that you can see on screen right now, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Also make sure to subscribe to the second channel where I cover news in a more rapid fire style. Follow me on Twitter and join the Discord if you want to recommend stuff to me that I could potentially make a video about. But with that being said, let's get into this news. And before I actually start off with the news, I want to say that everything that I'm about to talk about should be taken with a grain of salt. Even though it came up in Chinese forums, there is no official confirmation that all of these things are true, so keep that in mind while we go through the video. Now, there are a lot of things that were mentioned in this tweet, but I'm going to jump around the different points and make them flow in a way that I think is a lot more fluid for the video. And hopefully by the end of the video you'll see why. But before I even get to talking about these things, I want to give a huge shout out to Nova for actually posting about this on Twitter. I will have the link to the tweet down below, so make sure to go give them a follow so you can actually keep up with stuff like this. But with that being said, I'm going to start off this video by talking about the second point and also the third point, because those 2 points are technically interjoined. The second point talks about heavy crunch culture as regards the game, and here's what it says. There are reports of routine overtime stretching all the way till 10 PM with pressure on anyone who pushes back against it. This ties in with the third point, which talks about meetings. Some employees claim that refusing overtime leads to closed-door interrogation-style discussions with management. Now, when I heard this for the first time, there was one thing that came to my mind. I don't think it's a good idea to overwork the developers of the game, because that can seriously affect the quality of the game. And we know that Ananta is not a small-scale project. I don't think it's wise to put the developers under a lot of pressure, especially when they have a lot of things that they're going to be implementing for the game. And one example that I can give of this is jumping over to the last point here, which is about morale and testing problems. So this point says, morale is reportedly so low that developers of the game are scripting or automating internal playtest submissions in order to avoid spending personal time with unstable builds of the game. And if you know anything about development, you know that if stuff like this is happening and you're rushing development of the game and developers aren't actually taking their time to look through the game because they're tired and they're trying to rush through everything, you are going to get a bad game on your hands. No matter how you do it, you're going to get a poor product. This will never end well. And on top of all of this, right, there is also the micromanagement issues, which is the fourth point here, which says leadership is said to demand pixel level revisions on assets, even in areas where they may not fully understand the technical constraints leading to the problems that we have. Now, you guys have heard everything that was said in these posts, but there's one main thing I want to talk about, which is the first point in itself, which is them saying that the game doesn't have a solid gameplay loop. I don't agree with this. Now, I do understand where everyone is coming from. Like, if you go down to the comments of this exact same Twitter post, you will see that there are a lot of people talking about how they feel like the game just copies a lot of games, but doesn't really have anything that is unique, in quotes, to it. And I think also, by the way, that the fact that this game is taking a lot of inspiration from other games is also what is causing the micromanagement issues to begin with. Because if you guys remember, around the time when we finally saw gameplay for Ananta, one of the main things that a lot of people started talking about was the fact that there was a lot of inspiration, straight up copying of Insomniac Spider-Man 2. And it was later confirmed that the developers of the game actually do have permission from the devs of Spider-Man to actually make this. And I think that it's these kinds of collaborations that make it so that the higher-ups of these developers are extremely very critical of everything that is being done, because they want it to be done as good as it can possibly be, even if they have to push the constraints that the game currently has. That's my current theory on that, but let me hear your thoughts about that down below. Now, getting back on track, I don't actually agree that the game doesn't have any soul. Now, we do have to remember that we haven't actually seen a lot of the things about the game that make us believe that the game doesn't have any unique identity. Like, for example, we don't know much about the story of the game currently. We don't know much about how the end game is going to be. When we saw the demo at TGS, there weren't really a lot of side activities that were available for us to do. We were able to see all of the customization. We were able to see some of the random encounters that you can have in the city. We were able to see some gameplay missions, but we didn't actually see anything that was core to the story. And most of the things that we saw were pretty good. So for us to say that there's nothing that makes the game unique, in my very honest opinion, is very disingenuous. That's just me, of course, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just so enamored by the game that I just cannot see this fault. This is something that has happened to me a lot. So if it comes out to that, I am ready to take my L. But I think that it's way too early for us, the consumers, to be saying that the game doesn't have anything that makes it unique. It doesn't make any sense. In my very honest opinion, we haven't seen everything that the game has to offer. Now, yes, I do understand that even when we are still in the teasing phases, that it would be more likely for us to see what makes the game unique. Take, for instance, when Wuthering Waves was being announced, one of the main things that was immediately obvious to everyone was the fact that this game was going to be a combat-centered game. Yes, it was going to take a lot of inspiration from Genshin Impact, but the combat was going to be the standout feature, the thing that makes it different from Genshin Impact. But in this case, I want you guys to remember this. Ananta is not copying or taking inspiration from one game. It's taking inspiration from multiple games. And when you take little things from different places, you combine all of those, that can form an entirely different product, a product that is unique in itself. I really hope that makes sense, but that's how I'm thinking about the game right now. So when people say that the game doesn't have a solid gameplay loop, I don't know if I agree with that. I feel that we should see more of what the game has at the moment before we say that the game probably needs to work on doing this. And also, if we do exactly what I just said and we see more of what the game has to offer, then we as the fans can actually start recommending to them things that they could add to make the game feel more unique, things that they could add to make the game more likable. That's how I look at it right now. So I don't really agree with all of these takes about the game not being unique in itself. Really does not sit well with me. Now, with that being said, all of this talk about overtime and forcing people to do overtime, I've already talked about. I don't think this is actually a good idea. Like, recently, we just had One Punch Man Season 3, and look at that thing. I am someone who doesn't actually normally care about animation, but it got so bad that even I could notice that there was something wrong. And if you're getting someone who doesn't normally care about something to notice that that thing is bad, it means that that thing is really bad. And from all of the rumors that I've been hearing, it seems like as though the animators of Season 3 didn't even have a lot of time. Like, from what I'm hearing, I'm not sure about this, they didn't even have up to a year to make this. And if that's the case, I'm not surprised. So I really hope that all of this is not true and that these are just rumors that are being spread to make people lose interest in the game. Now, the very last thing that I'll talk about are the automations of the internal playtests. Here's the thing. If the developers of this game are automating playtests, they're eventually going to have to release a beta, right? Even Where Winds Meet, when it was before it actually came out this year, was released in December of 2024, which was technically an open beta for people to play the game in China, enjoy the game, report any issues that they have, etc, etc. Now, here's the problem that I have with what I'm about to say. Ananta was announced back in 2023, and a lot of people have not seen gameplay from the game. A lot of people have not been able to play the game. And even though we've seen a lot of gameplay, a lot of real people have actually tried out the game, if Ananta were to drop a beta and that beta is buggy as hell, it's seriously going to affect the reputation of the game. So even though what I'm about to say, which by the way is that if the developers of the game are cheaping out on actually testing things that are in the game properly, we will be able to see all of these things when the betas come out. So I guess in a sense, it's going to allow the game to not get its reputation damaged, because I think it's better if all of these problems come out in the beta testing phase rather than in the final launch of the game. But if what was said about them being forced to do overtime is true, we're going to see a lot of those problems when the beta comes out, and I really hope that is not the case. But let me hear all of your thoughts about this news down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out the second channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.